This is Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Your RV guide for Oklahoma and beyond. Give us a call at 918-460-KRMG. Now, let's hit the road.
Afternoon and welcome to Camping with Wade's RV. This is 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. I'm Skyler Cooper, pulling double duty today, doing a little news, doing a little camping talking as well. Joined by Willy D from Wade's RV down at 161st and Highway 75. Willy D, good afternoon.
Hey, how are you doing, Skyler? We're having a good day out here at Wade's RV. It's warming up really nicely. It's about 60 degrees out here, and so it's been a really nice transition compared to what we've seen earlier in the week for sure. But yeah, no, we're having a great time out here, and I hope you're having a good time over there as well in the studios.
Yeah, it's finally starting to melt away. We had some record snowfall last weekend in the terms that it hasn't done that in almost 10 years, so that was interesting. I'm curious, I think we've talked briefly before about camping in the snow and what you need to do, but is there anything different just for future reference if maybe maintenance-wise you got to do if it's snowing? You talked about the covers over the slide-outs.
Yeah, so the slide toppers make it really handy whenever it has been snowing or you have ice or even whenever it rains to make sure that that doesn't collect on top of your slides. And so whenever it comes down to maintenance, you really just want to make sure that you got propane, for your heaters and stuff. Make sure that everything's working in there and that accords so it doesn't freeze up on you. But the slide toppers are really just going to be more of a convenience thing. And so if people are out camping, a lot of times they will get that snow on the slide, and the only way to get it off is to brush it off. And what you have to do is you have to get either on top of the camper or get a ladder on the side of it and then push it. And so it can be kind of a complicated job if you do get snowed in with the RV. So having those slide toppers make it really nice and easy where you can click a button and it'll roll right on in and slide right on off. So that's kind of one thing that you can do. I always bring an extra heater with me, so an electric heater. That way I can plug it in. If for some reason something happens, I'm always kind of paranoid that I always want to be over prepared versus less prepared. And so I always bring that little electric heater with me so I can make sure that I always have heat in my camper, and that way I don't get frozen or have any of my appliances or anything freeze out either.
You can join us today. Call the show, 918-460-KRMG, 460-5764. You can also text us. Type KRMG and then your question to 70123. Or give Wade's RV a call if you want to go check them out and see what they've got going on right around here. Willy D, Christmas time, just 6 days away. Sure, you guys are pretty busy getting prepared.
It is, yeah. We are definitely getting prepared. So if you are wanting to come out to Wade's RV, the holiday schedule is we are actually going to be only open a half day next week on the Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas Day we're going to be closed as well. So if you're wanting to come out and get an RV before Christmas, you need to make sure that you come on out there in a timely manner before Christmas so you can come get that. We're going to be able to get off and spend a little bit of time with our families. So everyone is just really, really excited about that. And next week, we will be on the air as well. Wade's RV is going to be closed next Saturday as well. But we're going to be able to kind of go over everything that's happened at Wade's RV, kind of go over everything that we've talked about on the radio show this past year. It's incredible because it's the last, we have this show and then we have the next one, and then we're into 2021. So it's really, really incredible. And we're going to kind of do a little recap. And if you're a first-time listener, we've been able to cover some really, really cool topics here over this past year. For one of my favorite locations that we ever did was I was able to do the radio show for a couple weeks out of one of Kenny Rogers' last tour buses. And so that was a really, really cool experience. And I was able to actually go in there and give a video tour. And so if you want to see that, get on our YouTube channel. There's lots of different content on there. You can see the Kenny Rogers bus. You can also see the different episodes of Camping with Wade's RV. So we had that. We also more recently had Dwayne Wade's F650. It was a custom F650 excursion. It was 6-door, and we actually had that in on consignment, and we were able to sell that within 72 hours. And so we've had a lot of very, very cool vehicles, but we have a lot of people that bring higher end vehicles to us as well to sell, just because we have a large customer base, and then we also have a large marketing spread. So if you're hearing this show, then it's obviously touching you. And so we have a lot of those products that come in. And then also one of my favorite events that we did at Wade's RV was we did Camper College. And so this was a really cool event. We were able to partner with Girl Camper, and so Miss Brenda Puckett She's actually an RV inspector who is a very avid follower and a very active member in the Girl Camper Club. And she was able to come to Wade's RV with me, and we had that club come on out, and I was able to do a seminar teaching them about, the ins and outs of an RV, kind of did a big walk around and answered just any questions that they had. And we had a really great time. And it was a really cool experience just to be able to kind of share that knowledge of something that I do every day with some folks that have been really curious about these vehicles, but may have been nervous to get involved or just have some questions that they wanted to ask one-on-one. Sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking if you're looking for a vehicle and then you may not know the answer and you might be nervous to ask. It's kind of like whenever you're sitting in a school, or you might forget. And so it was just a really good opportunity, no pressure or anything. And so we had a really good time with that. And if you need any RV inspections, you got to give Miss Brenda Puckett a call. And then also, this one's near and dear to my heart. We went live out at Cavalcade Rodeo, and that was really cool. I was able to get into my very first rodeo event, the Wild Horse Race, and let me tell you, it was pretty wild. But we had Steve Gussert from G Money out there. We had Marshall Perkins. He's one of the best pickup men out there. And then Brandon Wren, he was announcing. And we just had a really great time, and they shared a little bit of how RVs affect them in the rodeo world. And so it's not necessarily that they're going out to a state park and camping every weekend, but they take these vehicles on the road to make sure that they are going town to town, putting on these rodeos and making these events happen. So it's kind of a fresh take on what you may not have expected out of an RV and how it serves a kind of a different purpose. And then of course we went over camping spots and some of our favorite locations. Skyler, I know you love Little Sahara. Me, one of my favorite spots is Robbers Cave and out there at Hogan's Off-Road Park. I always try to go out there at least once or twice a year. And so we've had a lot of great topics, and we're going to go over a lot more of those and kind of touch base on them. And we're also going to go over questions from previous shows as well. So we've had a lot of callers come in or text in where they were asking their RV questions. And if you have any of those questions for us, or you want some advice about what kind of RV maybe you should be looking to get into, you can give us a call and you can text us, because we would more than love to answer your questions on that. So give us a call today and come on out and see us at Wade's RV. We're going to be open until 5 p.m. this evening, and we're located at 161st and Highway 75. And that's just going to be 5 minutes out of Tulsa Hills. So it's not very far at all if you're in the Tulsa area. And an RV is a great way to spend the holidays. I love whenever you have an RV. It's kind of like you have your mobile home on the road. So if you're going over to Grandma and Grandpa's house, you can take that RV with you. And if you get tired of dealing with the family, you can just go retreat back to your RV. And so it's a really cool experience that you can take part of.
I can imagine there's going to be more people doing that this year. We've talked about the changes this year and how RVing just exploded with COVID, because people thought, I need to get a vacation, but I can't really go anywhere, so I'll go camp. And that can translate into Christmas travel too. You can go stay with your family while not staying next to your family.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can be there but not be there at the same time. And so it's opened a lot of different doors for people to get out there and experience that. And you can go hit the road. Like I said, it's one thing that's really cool about having an RV is it's not necessarily just about the destination. It's about the journey that you're going as well. And so leave a few days early, take a little bit longer on that trip, and stop and make a few extra stops at some new destinations. You might see something that you've never seen before. You might eat something that you've never eaten before. One of my good friends, Rob, he has a Facebook page called Rob's Local Eats. And so he's actually part of the rodeo world as well. And one thing that you do going town to town is you got to have something to eat. And he always talks about eating local, and that's something I always really love to support. So if you can get out there and eat local, that's always great as well. And like I said, just take a couple extra days and enjoy the trip and make some new memories with your family. That's a slogan that we have at Wade's RV, is turning miles into memories. And it's something that you can easily do by just kind of slowing down your lifestyle a little bit. It's really cool.
I think you may have had a little bit of a premonition, a little psychic vision a couple of weeks ago when you were talking about you continue to work from the road or work remotely, as a lot of people are right now. And you can do that in your RV from anywhere if you got an internet connection. And just lately, like in the last week, the city council is recommending that if you can, you should work remotely because of the surge in COVID. So, it's a perfect tie-in. If you've got the RV, you've got a good internet connection where you're going. You don't have to sit in your closet or sit in your back office. I had to use a closet because it's a radio studio, but you can go out, you can get an RV and enjoy the view while you're working.
You absolutely can. That's one of the best things about having that RV is you can take it and you can go on the road. It's just like we were talking about with it being your house on the road, it very much can be your office on the road as well. And it's a great opportunity. People are working remotely, and I love it because whenever you take your RV out there, for one, it's going to be safe. So you're going to be nice and spread apart from people. Campsites are not 6 feet apart; they're more like 20 to 30 feet apart, and so you're going to be able to be definitely socially distanced from people. It's going to be fun instead of, getting up and, like you said, just staring at the wall and sitting in a closet all day. Instead of getting up and just walking to the kitchen, you can get up and you can go take a walk, go outside, see some trees, see some birds, see some animals, different things like that. So you can really change your experience of your office. And it's really, it's going to be a little bit more healthy for you to get up and walk around and see these things versus just being stuck in one location. And then you're going to be able to make memories as well. So whenever you're out there, I mean, if you see a bear walk by, that's a pretty cool little experience. That's something that you might be able to tell people about for years and years to come. And you can kind of brag to your friends and tell them, hey, I'm out here and I'm enjoying this while you're doing this. Spread the RV lifestyle. You got to tell people about it or they're not going to know and they're missing out. I've always really enjoyed telling people about the RV lifestyle because of how much it's influenced me and how much it's affected my life in so many different ways. So it's a great opportunity, and I really encourage everyone to get out there and try it.
Got to take a break. You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about what they got down there on the lot and why it's a good time to buy right now, right around Christmas. Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG.
Camping with Wade's RV every Saturday at noon on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.
And Highway 75, you can reach them 918-291-1011 or online at wadesrv.com. You can also find at Wade's RV on your favorite social media site, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. A lot of good stuff on their YouTube channel. Willy D, you guys love to do those how-tos and the tips and tricks. So not only can people follow what you're doing, what you're working on, that tour you were talking about, but also if they want some regular updates on, man, I just don't know how to do this, you're kind of showing them how right there for free on YouTube.
We do, yeah. So there's lots of different how-tos on there. So one of my favorite videos is how to replace your manual hand crank jack with a power jack. And let me tell you, that's a great upgrade, and it's very inexpensive to do, and it will save you a lot of time and a lot of energy. And so with that, what you have to do is you have to take off 3 bolts, and then you have to put some supports in some different places, cut wires in a few different places as well. But it's a very, very easy swap, and that video right there will walk you through it step by step. So there's things like that. There's also things about right now, this is a very relevant topic, is if you have a cracked water filter. I go through how to fix that. It's a pretty simple job as well, and I was doing that on a 2013 Palazzo 33.2, if I remember correctly. And so you can see exactly how to do that and a whole bunch of different just tips and tricks. We just show you a little bit of everything. At Wade's RV, we're not necessarily just here to help you get into the right RV or help fix your RV once you have it. We want to help you understand it and also help you learn how to fix things on your own and just kind of be your one-stop shop for everything RV. It's really, really cool. At Wade's RV, being the only full-service dealership in Oklahoma, we have so many different tools and aspects to be able to help you. We have a big power jack that can actually lift a full-size motorhome, big 42-foot bus, all the way up in the air, and you can walk underneath it. While that can be frightening from time to time if you walk underneath there, we have the tools to do it where other people don't. We also have the knowledge from our technicians. We have technicians that have been certified master technicians for years and years and years, and so they know how to fix these vehicles. And it's very, very interesting. A lot of people that they take their RV to somewhere, they just assume that they have all of this stuff, and they don't. Many RV dealerships and then sometimes Freightliner, they'll actually call Wade's RV because we're the only ones that have the tools to do it. And by having that, you're going to be able to get your unit fixed. For one, it's going to be less expensive because it's not having to go somewhere else, but it's also going to be done faster because we're able to do the servicing and all of that stuff here actually at our home base at Wade's RV. So we have a body shop. We have that full lift, like I said. We can fix just about anything. I haven't ever seen Wade turn something down. We also work on mules and higher end coaches like that. So we're not scared of it, and we have the right, like I said, technicians and tools to get the job done. And so it's really, really cool. And we also have a full parts store. We have storage. So if there's anything that you need RV wise, we can help you out at Wade's RV. So it's really just an exciting thing, and it just keeps getting better and better. We'll talk about it a little bit later on in the show, but we're opening up another location up in Oklahoma City, and so we'll be able to help people out just a little bit more by being closer to them. They're not going to have to drive 2 hours. They can drive 30 minutes and come out and see Wade's RV and experience that same level of service and satisfaction that they experience out in Glenpool. It's going to be really cool because the store that we're building out in Oklahoma City is actually going to be a almost exact copy of our store in Glenpool. So it will very much feel like you're at home, whatever location you're going to be at. And we're really excited to get that opened up here coming in March. And so it's going to be a great opportunity. And like we said earlier, talking about getting an RV, taking it on the road, how can you do that? Right now is the time to do that, because right now we have lots of different inventory. For a while there, people were having a problem getting inventory. At Wade's RV, we are very blessed because we have close to, I think we're actually over 30 brands now. And so with that, we have lots of different brands and we have lots of different options. And so we're a one-stop shop. We have hundreds of RVs on the lot, but for a while there, people were having problems getting that inventory. And right now we have that inventory. And so you want to take advantage of coming out to Wade's RV now, because in a couple months, we may not have that. So RVing has become more and more popular. Even though we have the vaccine out, we are still supposed to be social distancing. And so RV camping is really the vacation of the future. And you don't want to be left scrambling, because last summer, everyone was, wanting an RV, looking for one, and it was just a massive surge, and there just wasn't a lot out there, and there wasn't a lot of options. And right now, you're going to have the best choice and the best selection of the best floor plans, the best brands. You're going to be able to have it all right there in front of you at the touch of your fingertips. And so right now is a really, really good time to buy, and you can get out there and you can start experiencing those advantages of owning an RV. Like we said about taking that office on the road, you can have a new office every single day if you want. You can take it to a family member's house for the holidays, and you can still be there while being separated as well. And so there's just so many different things that you can do with it. And it's really incredible seeing so many people get involved with it, and just see so many people. I love it. We always take a picture with folks whenever they leave with their new RV camper, and everyone's just sitting out there smiling. And one thing I always like to do is I like to ask where everyone's first trip is. And so if I've ever been there, I might be able to give them a few tips or tricks, or if they don't have one planned, you can give them a few suggestions as well. And so it's just going to really change your life. If you have an RV, or if you don't have an RV and you want to get into that RV lifestyle, we can absolutely help you. And what's really cool is we have RVs that start at only $100 a month. And so it makes it very, very affordable, where anyone can get out there and anyone can start camping as well.
You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV. If you want to join the show, you can text us. 70123 is the number. Type KRMG and then your question to 70123. Or you can also call us, 918-460-KRMG, 460-5764. Talking all things camping, where to go camping. And if you have questions about your RV, that's one of the common calls we get is, hey, this is going on with my RV and I need your help, Willy D. He can usually advise you through it. And if you can't figure it out, the RV doc can. And that is Mr. Wade Reeves down at Wade's RV, 161st and Highway 75. As he mentioned earlier, they can pretty much do it all. So they'll get you fixed up there. Join us now, because we're going to take a break for the news here at the bottom of the hour and check the forecast. It's going to be warm for a few days before it gets cold again, but it looks like we're not going to be getting that white crisp. On 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Skyler Cooper joined by Willy D at Wade's RV, 161st and Highway 75. Also at their service center at 121st and Highway 75 over there by the Walmart in Glenpool. Willy D, you guys are open today till 5. And remind us again your hours coming up in this week, since we got some holidays.
So we're open until 5 today, and then on Christmas Eve, we're going to be taking a half day off there, and then we're going to be closed until that next Monday. And so it's going to allow all the guys to have a little bit of time with our families and just be able to kind of relax and enjoy the holiday season. So we're really excited about that, and we currently are at the 121st. We're currently at the 161st, and then as we were speaking about earlier, we are also moving out there to Oklahoma City, which we're really, really excited about. And we're not just expanding our locations, but we're also expanding our brands. And so we've gotten to over 30 different brands now. And some of those include here in the last couple weeks has actually been Starcraft travel trailers. That's been really, really cool. And then also Telluride fifth wheels. We've been really excited about having these new brands come onto the lot, because it just gives people so many different options. And that's what's really cool, is because if you know you're looking for this kind of trailer and you like the floor plan, but you hate the color, that kind of lends to a little bit of a problem. And with having so many different options, many times a lot of different travel trailers and fifth wheels and motorhomes, they have a lot of the exact same floor plans with different variations and equipment and colors and styles. And so we can make sure that you find the one that you just absolutely fall in love with. And by getting these brands, it's really allowed us to do that. Another brand that we've also been able to carry, and it's one of our luxury travel trailer brands, is actually the Sundance travel trailer. And these things are really, really cool. I got to go into one of my very first about a week ago, and I was just really blown away with the style and then the equipment that they're using. They're using really high-end equipment, stuff that you usually don't find on travel trailers, stuff like metal faucets, nice solid surface countertops, really great flooring, and then of course, like I keep saying, is the floor plan. The floor plan is so important. And one thing that I've been really taken back by is some of these brands about how they go ahead and they're on the cutting edge of different floor plans. They're not scared to go ahead and try something different. And so at Wade's RV, we have a lot of unique floor plans that you may have never seen before. Wildcat is one of those companies, and they've just gone through a total redesign. And if you're familiar with Cedar Creek, you're familiar with Riverstone. Craig, used to be the president over there at those two companies, and he's moved over to Wildcat, which is another division of Forest River. And so he lended his knowledge and his expertise that made such great brands before over to that Wildcat product. And you're able to see a lot of those transitions and a lot of the similarities. And Riverstone is about $150,000 fifth wheel. So they know how to build them, and they are building them right. And so by having that new Wildcat, having that new redesign, it's just been really, really cool, and it just keeps getting better. And with us opening up that new building up in OKC, it's going to be really nice. And if you're familiar with where Goldsby is, it's going to be very, very close to there. And so it's going to be right by that airport. And we're not going to be open in OKC until March, but we are going to be up in OKC for the RV Boat Sport and Travel Show, and that's going to be the 15th through 17th. And so we're going to be up there, and we have been up there at that show for the last couple years, but we've been limited since we haven't been fully located up in OKC with how many products we could bring up there. And so if you've seen us up there in the past, we had a Torque, and we usually had a Galleria, and of course we had my very favorite sport chassis trucks. And so we had that and we were really excited about that. And so we're with our new location, we're able to bring a ton more units. And so by having the new location, we're going to have over 16 different models up there. And so you're going to be able to see a whole bunch of different options. And I love it because we haven't been able to really have an RV show in quite some time, and now we have the opportunity. We're going to have those RVs nice and spaced apart, and everyone's going to be following socially distanced guidelines, and we're just going to be making sure that we're taking care of everyone. And we're going to go up there and we're going to have a really great show. And so if you're looking for a great opportunity to save some money, like I said, we have all of these products. We have them in the store and we have them on the lot, and so you don't have to go to Oklahoma City. You can still save that money, and you can still take advantage of those deals at Wade's RV. And as we said earlier, we'll be open until 5 p.m. So come on out and see us, and we'll be there, and we'll be able to help you find just the perfect RV for you.
I see that you're taking a whole bunch of units down to that show, and I'm just wondering if you're going to be logging all those miles yourself, or are you going to get a little help?
I think Willy D is going to put a lot of be doing quite a few miles himself, but we're also going to have some help. So Brennan, we've actually had him on the show. That he used to be our sales manager at Wade's RV. He actually has his own company now, MTS Cattle, and so they don't just handle cattle. While they do have some great cows, they also do some mowing on the turnpikes. They do RV transportation, so they move RVs back and forth. And so I've already given Brennan a call, and he's going to help me out a little bit as well. So I will have backup and I will have reinforcements. And so we're going to get those up there. And then I'm going to be spending about a week up there getting that show set up and up to the Wade's RV standard, as we like to say. We like to do things just a little bit above and beyond what people typically do. Whether that be working on your RV, it kind of just made me think of this. So one time I was working on an RV. It was actually a sport chassis. I was putting a fifth wheel hitch in there. And so I was kind of going over with Wade, making sure I did everything just exactly right, making sure everything was set up exactly the way it was supposed to. And one of the last final steps he said is, hey, take some of that spray paint and go underneath there and hit those bolts with it. And I thought, why? And so I asked him, I said, hey, why would you do that? And he goes, well, it helps with the rust and corrosion and just keeping all of that dirt and road grime from underneath there whenever you're driving a truck around. We had snow. What do you do with snow? You put salt and minerals and stuff like that on there to melt it. And so that stuff can get up there and it can corrode that. And so whether that be fixing your RV, or setting up an RV show, we like to go just a little bit above and beyond. And so it's been really cool. And so I'm going to go up there. I'm going to put a whole bunch of carpet out. I have some really cool new LED signs. I think I've heard rumors I'm actually going to have this 3D laser projector thing. So it's going to be a really, really neat show. And so you're going to definitely want to come out there and see exactly what we're doing. And like I said, it's really, really neat. And if you haven't been out to Wade's RV, you need to come out and experience that Wade's RV difference, because there truly is a difference whenever you walk into Wade's RV. It's not like you're walking into a corporate, like a car dealership where it's all just cookie cutter and just, one standard way and just everything is the same. That's not it at all. It's whenever you walk into Wade's RV, there's cedar all along the walls. There's nice plush nice plush couches and chairs and lazy boys all in our lobbies. And if you go over there to the 121st location, you'll actually see that they have a fire going most of the time in the fireplace. And so it really feels like you're walking, you're dealing with family, you're walking into home, and it's just a good feeling because you're going to be taken care of the right way. You're not having to worry about getting your arm twisted or being forced into something, because that's not the way we operate at Wade's RV. And so you can come and you can see the difference, and then come see the difference in RVs. We have a lot of RVs, but we also have the very best brands as well. With the brands that we carry, it's not just brands that you can go and just pick up, just, hey, I want to carry this. And, then you're selling them. We had to go through vigorous tests with a great example is with Newmar. So the guys, they go through, it's like 20 hours of training on these products before they can even show them to someone. And so to make sure that they have the right knowledge, these products, you have to be trained and you have to be inspected to make sure that you can sell them, to make sure that you're up to that standard. And I'm proud to say that Wade's RV is the exclusive dealer of Newmar in Oklahoma. And so that brand has a lot of weight to its name. And the reason why is because it's such a quality product. And so we have those brands, and then our people, they know what they're talking about. They actually are campers. And so we get out there and we actually camp, and we do it all the time. And it's just another thing that we love to do at Wade's RV. And it's what makes us different, is what sets us apart, is the fact that we are campers. We love camping, and we help other people camp versus just trying to get you into an RV and get you out the door. We want to make sure that you're going to be able to go out there, enjoy your camping trip, and then go out and go on a whole bunch more. We want to get you in that lifestyle and show you what it's all about so you can experience the difference.
You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV on KRMG. I'm Skyler Cooper and Willy D. Let's talk about some of the things that you're going to be doing coming up here, because you just mentioned living that lifestyle. And that's something that I guess is a bit of a tradition for you that you're going to be doing over the holidays.
Yeah, so over the holidays, during Christmas and New Year's, if I can get a little bit of time, I'd like to sneak off and get a couple days of camping in. Every time I can get some time to go camping, I usually am, but I especially make a point to do it, especially during the holiday season. And so I'm trying to go out to Lake Murray. It's over by Ardmore. So if you've ever been out there, get on our Facebook page or text into the show and let me know what you think about it. But I'm trying to go out there and take a motorhome out, because me and my friends, it's kind of our way of getting together and all, I guess congregating, because everyone goes off and does their own thing in life. And so I've had a lot of friends come in for the holidays. And so we're going to try to get out and go out camping, because like I said, it's a great way that you can still be with your family, still be with your friends, but also be distantly apart. And so I'm going to bring an RV out there, and we're going to try to get everyone together with a whole bunch of RVs, and so we can kind of celebrate the holidays. It's really cool. My buddy Carlos came in from Louisiana, and my buddy Devin is in from Florida. We actually got to see him last night, and it's just a really great thing, because you can come together, you can catch up. Everyone's been separated for a long time. There's a lot of things that have happened, especially here in 2020, and you can catch up on that stuff, and you can just visit and celebrate and just really share some memories and have a good time of fellowship.
Let's take a break here. You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV. It's 1023 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Camping with Wade's RV right here on KRMG returns after just a couple of minutes. With Willy D from Wade's RV, 161st and Highway 75. You can reach them at 918-291-1011. You can reach us right now for the next 7 or 8 minutes at 918-460-KRMG, 460-5764. We're going to run through some of the differences for you as you're shopping in the RV world. And Willy D, let's talk about some of those things, like gas versus diesel. I know there's a power difference in there, talking about some of the comfort modes and efficiency too, right?
At different motorhomes, one of the first steps and it's a really big, question. It's the first thing I always ask is gas or diesel. And there's a lot of different, kind of tree branches that you can go off on that. But I wanted to touch on a couple bigger ones of, those bigger differences to maybe help clarify or, maybe help someone decide or help them, as they're looking. And one of the big differences that I start out with whenever you're driving the RV, because that's what you're going to be doing a lot of the time whenever you have a motor coach, is going to be the suspension. And so whenever you're talking about leaf springs and shocks and things of that nature, whenever you're looking at a gas rig, it's going to be very much more set up like your car. And so you're going to have those shocks and then those leaf springs and stuff of that nature, versus whenever you go over to that diesel pusher side, then you're going to start going over to the airbag systems. And a lot of people, whenever they are looking at an RV for the first time, they see airbag or see a sticker that says airbag, and it may be towards the rear of that coach, and that may just be for towing. Typically, that's exactly what it's for. You don't really ever see air ride on a gas coach itself. And so be careful and make sure that you're, making sure you have clarification, because a lot of times people see that and they just assume that it's a full air ride suspension, and it makes a huge difference. And whenever I'm driving a gas or a diesel product, that's the biggest difference that I notice right off the bat. It's just going to be how it travels down the road. And not that a gas rig isn't going to travel down the road, well, it's not airbags. It's not an air suspension. Whenever you have 8 airbags throughout that coach, you're going to be able to take the bumps and the aggression and how it just turns and twists. And when we know these Oklahoma roads, they're sometimes really great, and they're sometimes also kind of comically saying really great as well. And so it will really just handle that just a little bit better. And so that is one big difference whenever you're talking about that suspension. And then also whenever you're driving down the road, the next thing that you're going to notice is going to be that road noise. And so whenever you're driving down the road in a gas rig, you're going to have that gas engine up in the front. And so it's not going to be 20, 30, 40 sometimes feet behind you like in a diesel pusher. Whenever you're in a diesel pusher, there's a reason it's called a diesel pusher, is because that engine is in the back and it is pushing forward. And so 99% of the time, Newmar actually just came out with a front engine diesel, which will be really awesome to get on the lot at Wade's RV. But like I said, 99% of the time, those diesels are going to be in the rear. And so whenever you're driving that coach, that noise, it's going to be a lot further back from you. And so you're going to be able to have a lot easier of a conversation many times. And it's just totally different, like I said, because whenever you have that engine up front, it's kind of like if you had an Astro van, when you have that kind of hump, or if you're driving a U-Haul and you have that engine hump, you gotta walk over it. And so there is a little bit of a step right there. And so some people really like that, some people really don't. And so it's one of those differences that people do look at, and it makes a bigger difference whenever they're trying to make a decision. And then also with those different engines, with it being gas or diesel, they just function differently as well. And so with that gas engine, it's going to be running off that gas, which is going to explode, and it's also going to run hotter and faster and all of that. Your RPMs are going to be higher. And so whenever you're talking about the longevity of the engine itself with an RV, typically people don't put hundreds of thousands of miles on it just because it's not your daily driver. You just don't see that. But whenever you're talking about the wear and tear on the engine, if it's working more at higher RPMs, then it's going to have more wear and tear on it. And with the diesel engine, it's just automatically going to roll at lower RPMs. And so you're going to have lower wear and tear on it. And so that transitions over to maintenance and different things like that. And so those are some big things. And then the major difference is going to be price. Whenever you're looking at a gas rig versus a diesel rig, there's going to be a substantial price difference. And whenever you're starting at your base models, it would be around 50,000 probably is a good starting point. But then whenever you get into some of your higher end coaches, I've never seen one, at least I've never seen a $1 million gas rig. But whenever you get over to that diesel side, you will see those $1 million and $2 million rigs, because they have a lot more equipment on there. They're a lot bigger, and they just have a lot more features, because with that, having those features and having that stuff on board, it's going to cause more weight. And so you just have to have those bigger engines and things to pull down the road. And so with that, the price tags do variate. So if you are wanting one of those really high-end $1 million coaches, you're going to have to get a diesel versus getting a gas. Now, what's cool is if you're not towing, you don't necessarily need those big engines or anything like that for going all the way across the country, 24/7. You're more so going over to Colorado for the holidays. You're maybe going, taking a trip every now and then. You're not pulling a giant 10,000-pound trailer behind you. you can get a gas rig that is super luxurious. That's the benefit of having a Newmar on the lot, is we have those options for you, so you can really explore and see where you need to be in that motorhome category, because there's like 12 different diesel pushers in the Newmar line. There's a whole bunch of different gas options as well, and so you got to find the right RV that fits your activities and your budget, and then what you're doing as well, so then you can match it up, because you might be, for the same price of a new gas rig, you might be able to get a really awesome used diesel pusher. And so depending on what you're doing, we want to make sure that you have the right information to make those decisions and make the right decision whenever it comes down to your actual purchase.
About a minute and a half, Willy D. Let's let everybody know how to get a hold of you guys.
So there's lots of different ways you can get a hold of us. For number one, give us a call, 918-291-1011. And then our great receptionist, Miss Laura, she'll be able to direct you exactly where you need to go, whether that's parts, service, or even storage. We can get you set up there, or come by and see us. We have 2 great locations right now, and we're building on that 3rd location over there in Oklahoma City. On it, we have our first location, the original home base of Wade's RV, at 121st and Highway 75. And then we have the Super Center. That's where we have all those hundreds of RVs that we're ready to help you out with. That's going to be located at 161st and Highway 75, just 5 minutes south of Tulsa Hills. And our great website, I am very, very proud of where it has come and all the different things that you can do. You can actually get the value of your RV. You can check to see what your estimated payment is. We call it the auto APR calculator. It's really awesome. And you can just see a whole bunch of different tools. And if you want to buy an RV 100% online, I am proud to say you absolutely can. And so it's really cool. And if you want to buy an RV, we can actually give you full video tours and everything. And so it will feel just like you're there at the lot, and then we'll even deliver it to you. So lots of different ways to purchase an RV, and come on out and see us this weekend.
All right. Thanks so much, Willy D. Have a Merry Christmas, my friend.
Have a Merry Christmas, Skyler. We'll see y'all next week.
This is Camping with Wade's RV. You're listening to 102.3 KRMG. The future of real estate with Daryl Baskin is coming up, but first we'll check the news in the 24-hour Fox News Center on 102.3 KRMG.